This is the FSU School of Theater training on pneumatic tools. Specifically here we are discussing pneumatic firing tools. So first in our discussion, this is a narrow crown stapler. A lot of our fasteners will have the same types of design and function, so we'll go over this one and discuss some of the differences. So our magazine load feature here, and you can see you press the release, you can slide that back, and then the fasteners will fall out. Load new fasteners. These are narrow crown staples. You can see how they've got the fastening end. The sharp end is going to go toward the firing direction, and then that puts the back of the staple toward the back of that. And push it so it slides and clicks. If you don't want to slide until it clicks, you can pull back on that release, make sure it hooks back over. Make sure that you are not loading fasteners with it connected to an air source. If you need to load fasteners or unload fasteners, disconnect it from the air source first. So we've got a cap on the end here. This is to help keep particulates from getting inside the tool and help prolong the life of the tool. So remove that to connect to the air source, pull back on the collar, slide it in, engage, and slide up on the collar here. Now it's connected to the air source, ready to be used. Disconnect, pull back on the collar, off it goes. The different types of caps we have two different types of tools. The red cap tools are for oilless tools, and the black cap tools require oil. To put oil in a tool, simply remove the cap, and then oil is provided on the door. Squeeze in 2 drops of oil at the beginning of the use of the tool for the day, and that's enough for it to be able to be used. Other features involved here, when you're ready to connect it to an air source, make sure it's pointing down so that it's not a danger or hazard to anybody else. And when loading or unloading it, make sure it's disconnected from the air source and keep it from ever being pointed at another person or yourself. When you're ready to operate the tool, these have a safety mechanism at the end of them. Press down on the safety mechanism on the surface that you're firing into, and then pull back on the trigger to fire the fastener into the material. When firing into material, make sure that your hands and all body parts are more than twice the length of the fastener away. That way, if the fastener hits something you can't see, it can't bend out and hit you. So make sure that your hands, arms, legs, anybody is more than twice the length of the fastener away from the discharge point. You should also be wearing safety protection, safety glasses when you're operating these tools. This has a firing option for single fire or rapid fire. This is just about your operation and not having to release it from there. It shouldn't be firing a whole bunch of fasteners, and you should not bump fire the tool, which would be to hold the trigger and to fire it like that. The hazard being it could slip off and then hit you, and now the safety mechanism deploys when it's in contact with your body. Don't do that. So make sure you do not bump fire a tool. There is also an option here to change the depth of the fastener. So if it's not firing deep enough or it's firing too deep, you can change that setting and make sure that it fires just deep enough and not too deep. Additionally, you want to make sure that the right amount of pressure is available to the tool. Our shop pressure is 90 psi. That's plenty of pressure to operate the fasteners out of these tools. If the pressure needs to go down, they can be adjusted at the regulator, but set it back to the regulation depth when finished. These tools on the back of them indicate what they are. So this is a narrow crown stapler. So anything that says NC staples will fit in this tool. We've standardized our tools so that they're all the same. So our narrow crown stapler. We also have a brad nailer, looks similar, but of course it's going to have a different area for brads and fitting different brads. There are some tools that we have. So this is our upholstery stapler. It's actually a fine wire stapler, but because of what we use it for, we call it an upholstery stapler or up stapler. You'll see it labeled as. It does not have the safety mechanism on the end of the tool. Instead, it's on the trigger. So you have to pull back on that, and then you can fire it. It means that it can fire in the air. Make sure that you don't do that. Make sure it's in contact with what it needs to be firing into. So fine wire stapler, We also have a micro pin stapler, fires 23 gauge micro pins. Our composite nailer, firing plastic nails, has various uses. Our finish nailer, firing angled finish nails. Our T-nailer, which can fire hardened T-shape fasteners into concrete and steel. We use that for steel quite a bit. And then our corrugated fastener, which fires steel ribbon, which we can use for flat framing, and it's very effective there. All of the other discussed techniques apply to this. This has the safety mechanism at the end. Again, the cap, sliding cartridge mechanism. This particular tool has a good amount of kick when it fires, so a lot of care needs to be paid attention to this. But this covers all of our firing pneumatic tools. Thank you much.